Welcome back, welcome back. This is part 2 of our interview with George Humphries of BG Lofts. We are going to be diving into further questions with George about his know-how and knowledge relating to building projects, how a contractor thinks, and what things a client can do to make sure they avoid obvious mistakes and easy mistakes that are made during building works. Please stay tuned, enjoy this second half of the episode, and until next time, Andrew Sheely, speak to you soon. I'm just reading my question here.
What one we're on to?
We're on number 8 here, actually. What are the biggest challenges that you face when building that a client may not consider or appreciate? So let me give context to this. As a builder, you're running your job. Sometimes there are external influences that can affect the way you're able to run your job that you'll wear as a builder, but that the client will never really know about, although you're sure you'd love to tell the client, I've had a terrible week, this has happened, that's happened, da, 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 da. The client doesn't really care because they just want to see the job progressing. But for the benefit of the client, because this is what we're here to do, what are those things that the client doesn't ever know about, but you know regularly, every job, every other job? I know, like, you'd like to think, well, if it happens every job, I can just organise it out. But real world, what are the things that occur pretty much every other job that you go, do you know what, I'm just going to wear that at least the client understands these are the challenges that you struggle with. Right. And I'm sure there's a long list, so let's maybe do the top 3 or 5.
Like I say, if it's a subby couldn't be there or something like that, it's a bit of stress on me, but not
the subby. Which means
a subcontractor. So there's something like electrics and plumbing we don't get involved in. Or a decorator.
Or a carpenter. Or a labourer.
Yeah, if they can't turn up one day, then it's on me, and it's not down to the customer. But like I say, if it's delaying a project, Brian, I will let the customer know.
Yeah. Okay.
But normally,
you will let the client know.
If he's going to delay the project, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry. Of course.
But yeah, if customers want to change their mind, sometimes they change their mind on things, and that affects. If they want to widen a staircase, then it affects the hallway. Yeah. It's a knock-on effect. Yeah. So
and then
it's key to go to the drawings, stick to the spec, because you start changing things. They go, well, why is my hallway so narrow? Well, you wanted to change the stairs, so that's why the hallway's. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah. I'd like to ask you a question because it's very difficult for a client to sit down and go, I'm going to do a loft conversion, and let me work out every single detail at the front end. That is a lot of work.
It's a lot of information to take on. I understand that, but this is why I go back to good architects.
And dare I interrupt you? Have you ever seen a client who's gone, here's the job, loft conversion, let's just pick a loft conversion. I'm sure you do some other building bits here and there, but let's just use, and here's the exact carpet brand with exactly what we want, with the, what do they call it, with the weave, like the weave of the carpet and so on. Here's the exact profile of skirting board we want. We've sourced it from Italy. That's the price and the website link, the lead-in times. There you go. And the bathroom tiles and the shower screens, all there listed, on and on and on and on.
If it's a specialised thing, I'd normally get the client to order it and get it delivered to site.
But my point is, have you ever seen a client come to you and you go, here's your tender pack, and you go, wow, they've literally thought of everything.
No.
It's a good short answer.
No.
And even though architects, and I'm kind of protecting the architectural design sphere, architect, draft person, the whole thing, clients won't want to pay for that level of detail.
No.
Not for a loft conversion.
No, that's right.
Not for an extension. Maybe a new build house, maybe something where there's a £250,000 up, kind of let's go there.
If you go into
and maybe even not then.
Money, yeah, that's right. You normally get internal designers for things like that.
Interior design, of course.
Yeah, interior design. What did I say?
You said internal design. That's fine.
Interior.
They're out there as well. Yeah, they'll do. So okay, well that's a challenge, and I appreciate there are jobs where clients change their mind because sometimes you can't anticipate how things are going to look until you're in the space.
That's right. Exactly. And get a feel for it. They might say, I don't want carpet in here, or I want wooden flooring. They might change their mind with different products, So
I suppose this is where an architect can show their value, because although the architect might not help the client or might not be wanted to help the client design to that nth of a degree, the architecture person can still say, these are the things you need to consider. Mm-hmm. So you might want to, here's a standard list that you might want to go away and start filling in that design table of internal features and fittings and whatever. and really help the client drill down on options to make sure that things like width of staircase and all that is all properly considered, size of bedroom, whether the upstand wall is going to go, which is the short wall at the lower end of the loft. Do you want it at a metre height,
That's right,
1.2 metre height? At what height is comfortable for you? Because if that can be dealt with earlier, then you know it has knock-on effects for everything else, of course.
That's right, yeah.
Obviously, because for instance, if the upstand wall is going to be at 1.5 metres and the client wants to push it down to 800, and you've all of a sudden got to pay for all the extra insulation all the way down, the plasterboard down, the plastering down,
that's right,
and so on, there's more materials that you didn't plan for because it was just going to be loft void with a bit of mineral chucked in.
Yeah, basically. But people do change their mind, and like they've got to take into account that if they want to change their mind, it's going to cost more money. So.
Sure, you accommodate them as well.
I do, and I like to find a few freebies, especially if you're a nice customer. Anyways, little bonus, little hamper from George. Yeah, that's it.
Little hamper from George.
That's it.
Yes. Oh, that was convenient, wasn't it? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Misunderstandings. We're at about 42 minutes at the moment, so I think if we carry on, and I might break this into two, because I feel like it's important for someone who's going to do building work and wants to hear good answers from a builder who actually is doing it day in, day out. And you can be a bit bullish, by the way, because sometimes clients are the problem.
Yep.
I'm not saying, because we're not talking about anyone specifically, so sometimes clients might be the problem. You haven't got to swear, but the point is, it's all part of the process. So if you need to say anything like that, or the architects could be the problem, or the designers or whatever, they could equally be the problem. So just, talk openly, because this is the kind of content we need to be raw and open on so that everyone gets the benefit when they're listening. So misunderstandings, how to avoid them, communication.
Yeah, key.
Of course
is key.
But can I tell you, we had Karen on in my office the other week. She is doing a project at home at the moment with a builder, and she's a lovely, delicate personality. Don't be wrong, feisty when she needs to be, but she wouldn't want to ever be rude or bullish on anyone ever. And I'm sure there's a lot of clients who make decisions to go with certain contractors on an emotional front because they feel they connect with the builder, because they know that they haven't got the desire to want to go and call the builder out middle of a build. Oh, you, what you doing? And be proper bullish like that, right? A lot of people who want to do that anyway, but some people don't mind. Should say that. But so the point is this: she said the other day on a podcast, and that was episode 2, by the way, of the podcast.
What episode are we now?
We're episode 4 or 5, I think.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I think it was episode 2. Anyway, it was a second episode of Karen's project. That's what you should be looking for if you want to look.
I'll have a look.
And that's how we labelled. She said she feels like she doesn't want to be a nag or a pain asking too many questions. Bless her. She said that, and we had a good old chinwag about that she has to ask questions, otherwise the builder will just assume that they're doing a good
what she's
job.
talking about. Yeah,
I must be doing a good job because she hasn't said anything, or they, or he, or whoever hasn't said anything.
Oh, you've definitely got to be liaising once a week with the customer. But site meeting come Friday, big site meeting, and then any problems you feel?
How long's that site meeting usually
Depends. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It takes as long as it takes. So 10 minutes could be a couple of hours.
Depending where the job's at, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. And depending if the customer wants to go through extra stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'd have a meeting every Friday and discuss any problems. Not normally there isn't any problems, or anything in general. So, just to put the customer's mind at rest, we'll have a site visit every Friday, discussion with me and Ben on site, and go through everything that's concerning them.
Okay, and then you can highlight all the other things that need time frame.
If there's any issues our side, then we'll let the customer know.
So you're asking questions.
Both sides.
They've got an environment and a safe place to ask questions themselves.
And it just puts them at ease as well. Do you know, like you said, Karen, she didn't want to feel like she's nagging or anything like that. But like I say, come Friday, if you've got any questions, talk to us Friday, because we are busy during the day, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just cover that important point. So it's not about unless it's urgent, it's not necessarily about putting you up at every single moment. Oh, George, I just got one more, and you're like trying to cut a bit of timber off the top, hanging off the side of the roof like Spider-Man. Yeah. And then when we have a conversation, you might be like, right, let's wait till Friday.
Or if it's that important, put in an email, and I can catch up with it. Or if it's really important, come and see me that day, and I'll address it straight away. So
got it. Okay. So there's never really a time when a client should feel like they're being difficult asking questions.
Never.
It's just a case of establishing the proper mode of asking questions, i.e. please don't do it every 5 minutes. And if you feel like you've got 50 questions a day, then put them in an email.
That's right,
and that way we can address the answers. If it's just one off here and there, then ask it or save them.
Normally speaking, it's pretty cool, you know.
Of course it is. So. But not every builder, with respect, is as open and jovial as you are. Some builders are super old school, gruff, lovely, charming when you get them in that zone, but if they've had a bad night's sleep, they're like a bull in a proverbial china shop.
Not everyone's as nice as me, I suppose.
Yeah.
No, you get the old school boys, and they're a bit straight to the point sometimes.
With the old school boys, and I've known of builders in the past who've literally made clients cry just by being a bit too...
boisterous.
That was a stupid question, wasn't it? Or that was just being a
that's
bit
not
too...
part of my character.
Of course not. Well, you're professional. You're like the professional loft company. But
I like to think so.
I'm not knocking all builders here again, but it's just there are people out there like that. In any profession, really.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you're dealing with that kind of builder, or you've started a job where you discover, because he was lovely and charming, or she was lovely and charming during the middle of the build, you've discovered that actually they're a little bit bare with a sore head on days. That I think the most important thing I'd say, and I'm sure you'll agree, is to set the terms of engagement up straight away. I appreciate you might not want to be talking to me all day long, but I'm going to send you questions, and I do want a site meeting at the end of each week.
And we normally, as soon as I start the job, I say, look, every Friday we'll have a site meeting, go for any issues. If it's very important, then obviously speak to me on the job or email me. But yeah, with the one a week site visit, for everyone come if they're not living there or whatever, it saves a lot of problems.
And set the terms out.
It does,
how you're going to communicate.
Problems,
So these site meetings are going to cover this
right.
every week. And standard agenda every time.
It's not going to be left for 6 weeks not talking. I'll just that wasn't how I wanted it done. Like we go to the drawings and we discuss if there's any changes that you feel you want to do, then we can address that.
Sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? But I promise you, a lot of people might not think about that. So if the builder's not coming to you naturally saying, do you want a site meeting? Then make sure you're asking for the site meeting.
It's also good to do your homework on a loft company as well, because if they've got good reviews, they're good, so it's always good.
I don't think you can't really buy reviews, and
no,
you know what I mean? It's no one can be bothered to try and lie about them. It's too much. I'm sure there's here and there, but just realistically. Okay, that's very useful. There's a real, popped in my head. The one thing I feel like I'm going to have a theme on every single show we do here is about the unicorn. And the unicorn is the female builder. Okay. Now, I'm not a sexist at all, but building, construction is, I think everyone in the whole world, certainly the UK, could agree, it's predominantly a male-based industry.
It's changing a bit now. We see getting a few more females coming through,
which is amazing. So I don't know why it's popped in my head, but I suppose what I'm trying to do is I would love to talk to a female builder here on the show.
Definitely, yeah. I'll come in for that.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, definitely.
It would be fascinating.
We can bounce off each other, maybe.
Exactly. And I'd just like to talk to them about their challenges and how they approach it and how they got on. It would be, I'd love it, because I've been in the industry for 15, 17, 18, God knows, more than 15 years, and I've never come
across a female builder.
So if anyone's ever listened to this that either knows a female builder, is a female builder, and you want to come on the show, but like George today, getting a bit of exposure, wave to the camera, George. then the point is that come on, because it will be fascinating.
100%, and I'll definitely come down for that. I'd like to see a female builder.
Yeah, just a great conversation, wouldn't it? It'd be amazing. Would. Anyway, I digress. We've only got a couple of questions left, and the next one is how to manage expectations with regards to timelines for a project, deadlines for finishing and staying on track. Now, I've had a number of jobs in the past, and I feel like this answer is pretty obvious, but there may be people who are thinking, that's a great question. How do we manage delays? How do we manage getting back on track and staying on programme? I know the answer. You know the answer. But let's talk about it as if no one else knows the answer. So I've had jobs before many a time, where there isn't any incentive for the builder to finish on time, because there's no penalties applied to the contract, and the JCT minor works contract typically has an option for putting a penalty in, which might be £300 a week, so some nominal amount that says if you run over,
security for the customer, isn't it?
If you run over, then I'll charge £50 a week. It could even be £50 a week, but the point is, it's money that keeps the builder focused to go, I don't want to lose 50.
That's right.
I don't want to lose £50 a week. Now, whatever that looks like, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone at any point to talk about different varies in that, because if you're doing a large project, for instance, and you're having to move out and you're living in a rental property, they've got a 6 months contract.
I understand completely.
And you extend that contract and it costs you £1,500 a month. You might say, well, it's going to be £1,500 a month pro rata per week. that's the penalty, because I'm going to have to pay it and you should be finished. Now, the point is this: during a building project, if something delays you as a builder that isn't essentially an act of God or something completely unknown, then you have to wear that somewhat, because if it's staff that you're employing and they don't show up, that's your problem.
That's on me. Of course,
it's a tough gig.
It's my project. It's mine and Ben's project. So at the end of the day, it's down to us. So
a lot of builders will allow fat in the programme to accommodate the fact that there are going to be unknowns. So yes, it might take 12 weeks to build your loft.
I'm going to allow or something along them lines. That's 14, with 15. A loft conversion, we'd be looking at 8 weeks, but realistically, it'll take us 6. So we give us 2 weeks grace if there is anything, and then you look golden as well when you come in a little bit under. You know,
what do they say? Overpromise. No, that's the wrong word. Overpromise, underdeliver. That's not the one. Underpromise, overdeliver. As in, it will be take 14 weeks and you deliver it in 12.
That's right.
And the client's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. So if I tell the customer it's going to take 8 weeks, realistically, we're going to do it in 6. We give ourselves 2 weeks grace and buttoning up. I don't know, stag list can take.
We've got our video production guy in the background. I'm actually going to ask him, if you don't mind, could you just click with the mouse the OK? If you can see it here. This is very impromptu in the middle of a Zoom, not a Zoom call. He's struggling there, isn't he? Bless him. There you go. There you go. You got it. Perfect. Thank you. On the background, for everyone just listening on the show, and I might have to cut this out or leave it in, we've got a lovely television with the logo on of the company, and we just had a computer error box that needed the OK button clicked.
Not everyone's perfect, mate.
Our video guy standing, listening, and dealing with all the audio productions just kindly stepped
doing a great job.
It.
Yes, looks fantastic, by the way.
Definitely needs a pay rise, I think.
He does.
Anyway, getting back to it. So deadlines, right? So I've had builders where there is no penalty. We think this is only a small job, and then you got your program. All of a sudden, you're 2 weeks behind. The builder's promising to catch up. You're shaking your head vigorously, like, I've heard this before. This is a classic one, right? And obviously, clients are going to know that this is a classic one. So you're 2 weeks behind. The builder's going, yep, no problem. Catch up. We're going to catch up. It's not a problem. And then the next week passes. Not much is really happening. Okay, yeah, he assures you he's going to catch up. All of a sudden, you're 4 weeks behind program. You've got a contract signed. The client suddenly feels like, I'm too far in the deep end here to tell the builder to go, because it took me 8 weeks just to find the right builder. What am I going to do? Stop the job in the middle, find a new builder to come in. He's going to charge me more money for picking up someone else's job. He's in a bit of a pickle. The client, he, she, they are in a pickle. So talking, if it was you, so let's put this context. You're doing your own building work. You're too busy. You've got another builder, to come in and do your own build on your own house.
Yep.
Because as much as you would do it yourself, you just can't do it, let's imagine. So now you're in that situation. And I appreciate you might rock up on site and be like, right, let me get the hammer out of the car and we're going to have a proper, scene to on site or something. Or not hammer, that's overly aggressive. I'm kind of trying to say you're going to go to site and have some strong words.
That's right.
Clients aren't necessarily going to do that because that's not the world they live in. So if you haven't got strong words to go on and really rattle the cage hard and really make the builder freak out and say, I've got to put it back, what other things can you do?
Well, I think, like I say,
strategically or in the moment.
Look, if you know you're going to be running behind by a couple of weeks, you've just got to be upfront with the customer. And you've got to let them know, like we do the Friday, we'll have a meeting every week. We'll just let them know we're running behind, and if they're nice people and they understand, and if they go, well, I'm going to start finding you because they've got something in place to find me, then so be it. Issues happen. Yeah. I'll have to pay it, but simple as that. But yeah, normally speaking, we don't overrun.
Obviously, and I'm not referring to you.
Yep.
This is my point. We're talking about the wider market. Someone in Scotland could be listening to this who you're never going to get a job with because they live in Scotland and you're not driving to Scotland to do a loft conversion.
Just be honest with the customers, 100%.
Well, that's the builder. So let's say the builder's feeling anxious to say anything. He's thinking he can catch up. He can't catch up, or he just doesn't give a monkeys and he's carrying on anyway. He knows he's at a loss. My head tells me this is why it's so important to have some kind of penalty facility in, even if it's a nominal thing. Just to give some focus. For that,
just to give the customer some satisfaction. Just to say, I know it's going to be finished now. If not, then they've got a penalty they've got to pay.
Well, the penalty's only due if you overrun for your own fault.
That's right.
Because if there's a house, like a hurricane, and the scaffolding gets blown over, you've got to spend a week getting the scaffolding dismantled and put back and all that stuff. That's not your fault. Then that time frame gets added onto the contract. It's only when the builder's negligent and is not delivering, that's the time when you want to go in and kick some backside, essentially.
Or you just throw a few more men at it.
Well, the builder can.
Yeah, I'll do that, yeah.
So from my perspective, you know, you could terminate the contract. But realistically, are you ever going to do that in the middle of a job?
I think right towards the end, if you're going to oversell, just be honest. And
the builder should.
So a builder should be honest to the customer.
The builder's not looking for advice on this podcast. So what would you give advice to the client?
Customer. Well, they put that in place. The penalties, definitely.
And that's not a scary reality for you.
I'm happy to take that on. If someone went, well, there's my contract. I say, well, I've got my contract there. You sign that, and they've got their own contract to say if it overruns. I'm cool with that because, like I say, it never ever happens. So
because you're going to allow fat in the program.
I'm allowed an 8-week project. I'm allowed 2 weeks.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
And if the client says he wants to charge you £1,000 a week, you'll most be allowed 3 weeks over.
Yeah, charge me £3,000. It's not going to run over you.
No. Okay, well that's the point. It's important though, and I know I'm really pushing the line of question on this one because I really want to stress to a client listening or a potential client, not a client. When I'm saying a client, I'm meaning someone wanting to do building work. That program is one of those things that you want to keep your hands on because you're planning to move in. You might have the mother-in-law moving into that space, or all the other things that move around. You want to be in a position where if the builder's just gone on holiday for a month, lastminute.com and disappears, you know, where's everyone gone? That you're not going,
it don't happen with BG Lofts.
What do I? Of course not. I'm talking about worst case scenarios here. This is what people want to hear about. Because at the end of the day, it's well, not like the best case.
It's good to do your homework on the loft company that's doing it. That's key as well.
Or any builder for
any builder, whatever they decide to go for extension. They want a kitchen extension. Definitely do your homework. Just ask about, can I speak to a previous customer of yours? That always helps. That I always do that with mine, just to put their mind at rest.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So it's about having provisions in place. So if they do overrun, you can give them focus, as in, like no one wants to start the job off going, well, we're going to, you know, the client's going to take the mickey out of the builder on purpose. It's just having something there so that should the builder want to or inadvertently overrun because of negligence in extreme scenarios, that the client has something to fall back on. So they can go, hang on a minute, we're going to, you know, we've tracked all our time and we're going to, you know, we owe you money at the end, but we're going to hold it back. And that's obviously not most probably a conversation. Fair enough. And it's not a conversation you might even have on site, but if it's there in the background, then
it just puts the customer at ease a little bit as well. They think, okay, well, there's a fine in place here. I can see him delivering on time, if not earlier. But
okay, yeah, okay. Listen, we've gone through. There's plenty of other questions. I'm just going to rattle these questions. Look at you, left your phone, haven't you?
Sorry, I'll put my phone on silent. My iPhone's, my iWatch is really
terrible. The other questions we didn't cover today, because we've done a nice hour and I think there's plenty, is how to deal with payments. We won't answer these because I can cover these in other shows. Okay. But how to deal with payments when building, what is fair and what the builders prefer to do and why. Don't answer these because we'll go on.
Yep.
And I love going on, but we'll be here for 2 hours and then it'll be,
right.
Yeah, no one's going to be listening at the end of it.
Everyone's asleep.
Exactly. The next one is, what's the best ways to close out a contract and avoid any disputes? You know, that's quite an important one. And how to avoid unexpected delays. Where do delays always happen that a client never expects? We will cover that in another conversation with another builder another day, so don't worry about that. The last one I am going to ask, though, is, this is the big one for you.
Biggie.
Don't mess this up.
Try not to.
Why should a client choose BG Lofts for their project? What makes you different?
With BG Lofts, you get more of that personal touch. Because it's me and Ben, we're partners, and it'll always be me and Ben on site. So
your hands
we quote, we do the project from start to finish, and you'll only see our friendly faces. So you get that personal touch from BG Lofts. So that's the reason why you go with us.
Okay. So I'm just going to make this clear. Some builders don't work on the jobs.
That's right.
They're not necessarily bad builders because it depends on clients' preferences, to be clear.
But you can lose touch when you're not in contact with them. Like I say, I do them Friday meetings. Just to go through with the customer. Yes. I don't know if any other loft company does that, but like that's key for us. So,
so you're there on hand all the time.
And you got that personal touch with us. So
and that's important. So if someone loves your DNA, the price is right, which is always critical in any event. So you like the DNA, the price is right. It all feels good. Then on top of that, you're on site as well, so the client knows that they're going to show up.
It puts people's mind at rest as well. You know, when the main guy's here. The director's doing the job, or what? It just kind of helps.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Director's on site. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. Anything else they should know? Clients out there, what's your website? We'll put it in the show notes, by the way, guys. So George's and Ben's website. Info at email address. We'll get that link down there as well.
LinkedIn, yeah.
So if you wanted to ask any questions about loft conversions, or if you're thinking of doing a project and you wanted BG Lofts to
feel free to call me or email me, whatever you like.
Let's ask this question importantly, because property is based on geography. What's your patch? Where do you go? How far will you go to do a loft conversion?
Well, last year I went to Surrey. I'm in Essex, so that was for one of my best mates though. So listen,
where do you want to work?
Chigwell, Buckersteel, Woodford, Wanstead, them kind of areas. That's
just for anyone
that's
listening.
in Essex.
Yeah,
much,
Essex, IG10 postcodes.
Yeah,
maybe into East London a little bit.
Listen, we travel. We travel, but they're my areas I like to concentrate on. Yeah,
work local.
That's it.
Okay.
Try my best.
Good.
Brilliant.
I'm sure your best is amazing.
It is amazing.
So that is us done, guys. We are 1 hour and 1 minute and a couple of seconds into.
It flew by.
It did. I think it took as long as that just to set up the television screen behind us. But in any event, it's been revealing, and I hope everyone listening to this podcast has felt like they've got some value from it in terms of questions being answered on delicate topics from the builder. It's powerful stuff.
If any clients got any questions, feel free. Yeah. You've got my email address.
Yeah.
Got my info at bglofts.co.uk.
And is AND, of course, not the little squiggly.
That's it. Exactly.
Your email won't accept that. Say it again.
Info at bglofts.co.uk.
Perfect. That was it. Professional. You should become a voiceover artist.
Should be a DJ after this.
So listen, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a real pleasure. It's been lovely to dive into your brain and understand how you work, what your thoughts are on building work, and how you deal with your projects. I'm glad to see, and you've come across amazing, you do projects exactly how I thought you would and how I've seen you do it. So it's amazing. Thank you. And,
thank you for inviting me on.
It's all right. And thank you for making it so easy. Until next time, have a great day. And for everyone listening, good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Take care of yourself. Rockhouse Property Show over and out.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the show and want to learn more about how you can complete your own extension, all whilst avoiding the common mistakes that can cost you time and money, then please hit that subscribe icon. Knowledge is power. If you have any questions about the show, or if you'd like specific questions answered, then please refer to the email address in the show notes below, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. For all things architecture and chartered surveying, www.rock-house.co.uk. Turning your development dreams into reality.